Welcome back. I hope all is well. Today we're talking about websites. I'm often asked if I think it's necessary for a private practitioner to have a website. That's the question we're going to answer today. So this won't be like a website building tutorial. However, if you're ever interested in that, please let me know. I'd be happy to make a video all about that. But by the end of this video, you're gonna know why it may or may not be helpful to have a website, what different options are out there for you to pursue if you decide to do that. And I do think by the end of today's video, you are gonna be able to decide whether or not you yourself as a private practitioner want to have a website. But before we do that, if you haven't done so already, please do go ahead and subscribe down below. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. It really is helpful, but only if you want to. There is no pressure. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Do I think it's absolutely crucial for a therapist or other provider in private practice to have a website? I do not think it's going to make or break your practice, but there are several factors about having a website that can really improve your practice. And the first one is professionalism. Having a website is most likely going to come across as more professional. So just think about this for a moment. Most businesses right now in 2022 have a website. Now think about the major retailers that you go to or you shop online with. I think about Target. Imagine if they didn't have a website. This would be kind of strange, right? Also, if you don't have a website, people are gonna have certain thoughts about that. And so then it's not gonna be you that decides what those thoughts are, but someone is going to say, that person doesn't have a website, and they're gonna wonder why. Maybe they won't wonder why, but if they do, they're gonna have their own thoughts about this. So if you don't have a website, that is a risk you're taking, or maybe it's not a risk, but that's something to consider. Another important thing about a website is that it allows you more room and flexibility to explain who you are, what your practice is, and what you offer. A lot of the profiles like Psychology Today or Alma, they're quite limited in terms of word count and what you can put on there. And when you have your own website, you can put however much you want, whatever you want. You're much more free to explain who you are, your practice, your style, your approach in a way that is not as constricting. And I find this to be really, really helpful. My website is one place where I can describe my practice freely without any word limit or any limit to the content that I put on the website. And I find this to be really, really helpful. And somewhat related to this, if you have your own website, you can put your own content on there. So you can put videos on there, you can put photos on there. You're much more free to express your practice in ways that are not just words. So for example, on my website, I have a whole bunch of different videos that explain different parts of my practice. I like to have a combination of written content about my practice as well as visual so someone can watch it if they prefer that. On most of the profiles, there are some options for video like Psychology Today, but the video is so short. I can't remember how long. I think it's less than a minute. On my own website, the video can be as long as I want it. And so having that flexibility can also help you stand apart as well as describe and explain your practice, your style, your approach in a way that is not as constricted. And don't quote me on this, but I think having your own website helps you improve your SEO. I am no expert on this at all. I think it stands for Search Engine Optimization. I think that's right. You can find much more helpful info from other people describing SEO. All I know is that when you have your own website, there's more flexibility in improving your SEO in whatever ways you can do that. And that's a good thing. That allows you to be more searchable. So if someone Googles you or Googles for therapists in your area, you're more likely to pop up on a search engine result. And obviously if you want to grow your practice, this is going to be a good thing. And your website can be seen as your home base. So maybe you're on different directories. Maybe you're on Psychology Today or Alma. Maybe you have former colleagues that provide you referrals via word of mouth. Now I see these as kind of floating around out there, but with really no common connection. However, if you have a website, this is the one home base where everyone can be funneled back to learn more about your style, perhaps to schedule. And so if you have the website, you can then put that in your Psychology Today profile, your Alma profile. And so then everyone can be linked back to your website. And that's important because if it has your content, your writing, your videos, whatever it may be, it's much more cohesive, it's much more you. So having a home base that is your website, I find can make things much more organized, helpful. Yeah, it's good. And finally, having a website is going to be helpful if you plan to diversify your practice or scale up. So for example, if you decide to start releasing products or to sell ebooks or something like this, anything other than direct client clinical work, a website's going to be crucial, right? This is how you sell things online. So again, if you have future plans for your business to be a group practice or to be a place where you sell products, ebooks, this kind of thing, getting a start on your website now is going to be helpful, and having that website is going to enable you to be able to sell those things, offer those things at a later date if this is something you wish to do. So perhaps you're convinced that having a website might be helpful for you. Let's go through some of the options that are available to you in terms of creating a website. But actually, hold on, someone just contacted me through my website. Let's take a look. Would you look at that? It's a message from my friends over at Thrizer. They're the sponsor on today's video. And if you haven't heard of Thrizer before, they are going to be a real game changer for private practices. They're a brand new resource that is completely free for both you and clients. Now, one of the things they have is these beautiful looking profiles that's really going to help you market your practice. And from the client's perspective, it's really nice to look through different provider profiles that are pleasing to the eye, organized, and easy to read through. Also, and this is really, really cool, Thrizer is going to provide end-to-end support for your clients to use their out-of-network benefits. This helps you because you can maintain your cash pay rate while also helping the client so that they can use the benefits that they're entitled to and get reimbursed for the therapy sessions that you're providing them. And again, Thrizer is completely free. I really do think Thrizer is going to be an incredible tool for both providers and clients. There's a link down below. Go ahead and sign up now. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to oversimplify your options into 4 different categories. And the first one is for any therapist or provider who doubles as a software engineer or coder, programmer, or whatever. I have never met a therapist or psychiatrist or provider and software engineer. I've never seen that kind of duality in someone's profession. If that's you, I would love to know. Please put a comment down below. If that is you, well, then you can go ahead and create your own website from scratch. But again, I've never met anyone like this. For most of us, this is probably not the answer. So I was kind of kidding about that first option, but one of the first options that's most realistic for people is for those who are not that tech savvy. There are different website builders that are super minimal. And a good example of one like this is the Simple Practice website builder. Now, I'm sure there are others very similar to Simple Practice, but since I've used Simple Practice's website builder, I'll use this as an example. This is a website builder that looks really good. It appears really professional, but it involves very, very minimal skill in order to work it. And it's also really, really minimal. So there's not much you really need to do. Essentially, you log in and there's a couple different kind of forms you fill out or templates or whatever. It's like super self-explanatory. You type in your bio, you type in your profile, you check off which insurances you take, you check off your specialties. It's really, really simple. And so this option is really, really good for those who are not really interested in building a website or spending too much time on a website, yet still want the flexibility of having your own website. And also, they usually look really professional. I like the minimal look, so to have that kind of minimal yet professional look is really, really appealing. And that's why I went for the Simple Practice website when I first started my private practice. Now, there are some downsides to this. It is still quite limited. So the last time I used the Simple Practice website, you could not upload a video, you could not upload your own photos. It was very, very simple. No pun intended. So it was essentially one form that just went all the way down. You scrolled through, there was really no clicking around or anything like that. There wasn't multiple pages. And there was also word limits. So you were still limited, although it was much more free than like Psychology Today, much more flexible, you were still quite limited. And if you're someone who wants more customization than something like Simple Practice, you might want to consider a website builder like Squarespace or Wix. Now I see these two website builders advertised everywhere online, and they'll advertise by saying things like, build a website in 1 day, super easy to use. And these are kind of true. Like, you don't need any coding knowledge or special knowledge to run these websites or build these websites, but they're not that easy. It took me several hours and many days to feel like I had a handle on how to use Squarespace. That's what I use for my website. It took me a good amount of time to feel comfortable using it in order to build the website that I have now. So it wasn't like just log in, create an account, and have a website running. It was not that easy. It does require work and effort. And that being said, it also requires a little bit of maintenance, more maintenance than something like the Simple Practice builder. If a link breaks or a page breaks, I have to go in, find the link, find the page, and fix it. However, the customization options are almost endless. So on my website, I have a private practice resources section, which functions like a store. I have a website that talks about my clinical practice where people can schedule with me. They can read about my style, my approach. And I have another section which talks about my one-day workshop, which is something I do for providers. So my website is super customized and it has so much information within my website on multiple different pages. It's actually quite complex. This is not something that's at all possible with the Simple Practice Builder. So if you want to be more customized, you want more options, you really want something you can grow into, and at the same time not require like coding knowledge or special knowledge, then something like Squarespace or Wix is going to be the way to go. And then finally, if you want something that is 100% customizable, you might want to hire someone like a web developer, a freelancer who can do web coding, web design, that kind of stuff. This will give you the most flexibility, the most customization. I would imagine though, I've never done this, but I would imagine this is probably the most costly. It's also not that easy to make adjustments, I would imagine. So if you're working with someone who's building your website, then you have to correspond back and forth and wait for changes to take place whenever you find something that you don't like or you want customized. You have to email the person or call them or whatever, and then they get it and then they fix it and you go back and forth. Whereas something like Squarespace or Wix, you do it on your own. So if you want full customization, you really want the website to be your own, then perhaps hiring a web developer would be the way to go. But my opinion is this might be too over the top for someone in private practice. Something like Squarespace or Wix makes that perhaps not as necessary. And so with all that being said, my personal opinion is to start with something simple like the Simple Practice website builder and then grow into a more advanced website if you feel like you need to. When you're just starting out, something simple is really all that you need. And again, I don't think it's gonna make or break, but to have a professional looking website that is more customizable than like Psychology Today is gonna help you stand apart. So I would start with something like this. And then as your practice grows, as you see a need for it, then perhaps switch into something a little bit more complex and customizable like Squarespace or Wix. So I wouldn't go straight up over the top and build some crazy complex website if you haven't even started yet. I would start with something simple and then work your way up from there. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Hopefully you learned something. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you soon.